Okay. Okay, I think I did the right thing. Here's Rob. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are ready to go. I'll let the applicants in when we get to that point.
Okay. All right. So this meeting of the Hillsborough Board of Adjustments on the 9th of June, 2021 will come to order. My name is Bill Harris. I'm the chair of the board. Tom, can you go around and take roll, please, and confirm who is in attendance and if we have a quorum?
Okay, I have an email from someone. Okay. It was the lady who does the minutes. I just wanted to, okay, Bill Harris,
Here?
Rob Bray,
Here.
Sean Kehoe, absent. Raul Herrera. Absent. Joe Becker. Joe Becker.
Joe, you're on mute.
Here. Jen Sykes.
Here.
Dustin Williams. Absent. So we've got 4 members that's present. That will be a quorum to do business.
Okay.
Raul said he was going to be here, I believe, but he may be running late.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the agenda? Are there any additions or changes we need to make to the agenda?
Nope. None from staff.
No changes, none from staff, none from the board. Okay, so we'll work with this agenda then this evening. First item we have is the minutes review and approval. Has everybody on the board had the opportunity to take a look at the minutes? Does anybody have any issues with the minutes? Okay, Tom, I saw one typo on in paragraph 4, the penultimate paragraph. On the 3rd sentence or 4th sentence in, it says we were talking about building standards, and we're saying that we're comfortable with it if building standards are provided with guiding standards, and you've just got present tense, not past.
Can you
So if we
tell me
could,
what page that is?
page number 5.
Okay.
Page number 5.
Okay, that's of the packet.
Yes, of the package. It would
Okay.
be, see it there?
Yeah, yes.
Go down to you're in 4th paragraph, the penultimate paragraph where it starts Chair Harris.
Okay.
Go down to the 4th line. Building
Okay.
standards if they are provided with guiding standards.
Okay.
You see that? I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not anything significant. It's just, if we have the opportunity to correct it, let's just correct it now.
Can I have 1 minute to print something that I'm missing?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I normally have it printed, but I don't tonight. It'll speed things up. Okay.
Okay, so there was one correction to the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
Motion to approve.
and second by Jen. Tom,
Yes.
could you take the roll there for us, please?
Bill Harris,
Yes, aye.
um, Rob Bray,
Here.
Joe Becker,
Aye.
and Jen Sykes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So that completes the minutes. So the next thing we have on our agenda is a quasi judicial evidentiary hearing. So Tom, you say you've got the applicants in the waiting room?
Yes, I just let them in.
Okay. Are they there? Maria and Little Treasures? what I
Sharon
see.
Tate, Sharon
Yes.
Tate is the owner and applicant, and Maria Hitt is with Orange County.
Okay, could I ask Maria and Sharon, there you go, if you could start your video so we could see you, that would be great. Sharon,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll now open the evidentiary hearing for case BA 02-2021 Little Treasures Daycare Center,
Can we get
which
a
is
motion to do
pardon
that?
me, do we
Can we get
need
a
a
motion
motion
to do that?
now to open that, correct?
Move
Okay,
to open
so I'd
hearing.
like to open that. Do we have a motion to open it?
Move open.
Lynn moves I'm sorry, Jen open and Rob second. Could we have the vote then, Tom?
Yes. Bill Harris,
Yes,
Rob Bray,
Yes.
Joe Becker,
Aye.
Jen Sykes.
Yes.
okay, so then we open that case for the Little Treasures Daycare. So
We'll need-
Tom, at this point, yes, Bob?
We'll need to swear the witnesses.
Yes, I was going to do that. I was going to say Tom will be first up with the staff report, and then we will hear from the Little Treasures and everything. So I need to swear in the witnesses here because this is a quasi judicial hearing. So Tom, you also have to be sworn in, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So Bob, can I do them all at once or do I need to do each
Yeah,
individually?
you can do them all at once, yes.
Okay, so Tom, I'm sorry, excuse me there, I lost you. Tom, Sharon, and Maria, if you would, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Maria,
Yes, I do.
I do.
Tom,
I do.
Sharon?
I do.
Okay, thank you, ladies and Tom. Okay, so Tom, can you start us off now with the staff report and what is proposed in the request? And then
This
we
is-
will hear from Maria and Sharon after that.
This is case number BA-02-2021 for Little Treasures Daycare. Property is located at 554 North Nash Street. Sharon Tate of Jamillo Properties LLC is the applicant and property owner. They're requesting a conditional use permit modification to allow the expansion of a fenced play area on the north and northwest sides of the property, which will include the construction of a low-level deck on the north side of the existing building that's the daycare, and a pole-mounted shade sail structure in the northwest corner of the property. The property is a existing child daycare that was originally permitted by the Board of Adjustment in 2003. It's located in a R20 zoning district with surrounded by single-family dwellings. Staff has reviewed the application. There are two aspects of the project that don't comply, that staff's determined don't comply with the required requirements of the UDO. That's the front setback requirement and the side yard requirement. Staff finds that the application is generally compatible with the comprehensive plan. So with that, I will turn it over to the applicant to discuss their application, then we can discuss the two setback issues and how we wish to handle those.
Okay.
And then move forward.
All right, thank you. So Sharon or Maria, who I'm sure you two have figured out who is, so who's going to present your discussion here?
Sharon, you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. All
So
right,
Sharon and I
Maria.
have been working together for a couple of years. I am with the Orange County Partnership for Young Children, and I am working with childcare centers all over the county, helping them to make improvements to improve the health of the kids in their program. So Sharon and I have been working to make a lot of improvements to their outdoor learning environment at Little Treasures.
Oh, excuse me,
work.
Maria. Maria, could I pause you for 1 second? I just thought of one thing that I should have done beforehand before I started letting you go. Does anybody on the board have any conflicts of this, any reasons or anything for recusals that would cause you to unfairly consider this request from Little Treasures? No? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Maria. That was a procedural thing I should have done earlier, but okay, so
No
please
problem.
continue.
This is an awkward format. I don't want to give you all too much information, but just to say that we have been working with Tom closely. We did a lot of work in the backyard for the pre-K area and the toddler area. And then it's our goal to expand the area in the front so that the infants whose classroom is at the front of the building can more readily come outdoors more often. So that's really our goal here. The original design we had, which was designed by NC State, they didn't take any of the setbacks into consideration. Unfortunately, we had to scratch that whole idea that first was proposed. And so now we've really stripped it down. Our main goal is the fence. If we could extend the existing chain link, or maybe Sharon might do a different type of fence if that's preferred, just along the property line on the north side, and then wrapping just along the setback on the front, so that they can enclose this smaller area. There's a front porch there that the babies currently use to come outside on, but it's real tiny. So that would be the first request. And I believe that working with Tom, that is within the scope and the frame of what's allowed in terms of setbacks, would be that fence, as long as we have your approval. Then the second piece would be the small deck that Tom mentioned on the north side. And then finally, the shade sail, which would be 8 by 20. It would be set on 3 posts that would be kind of part of the fence probably. And then the fourth corner would be on the building, just to provide some shade for those infants so they're not out in the sun when they're outdoors. We could probably accommodate in some other way that need for shade. We could get one of the big umbrellas or something along those lines if this can't fly because of your rules. So we just wanted to present what we're after, and then hope that we can work together with you to figure out what's within the frame. And Sharon, I don't know if you just want to say a couple words about the work we've been doing and what your goal is here for the infants.
Right. Thank you. We've been just working really hard to change our playground to have more of a natural learning environment so the children can play and be outside more. The kids have really enjoyed our riding path that we've already put out in the backyard. And we just needed more space in the front yard so our infants can go outside and have more space and some shade. We tried it earlier today and it was really hot. So if we could just have some more space in the front yard so we can have some shade and the little ones can crawl out into their own environment, would be just great if we could.
That is one of the other things I didn't mention just now, but we were hoping to plant a few more trees along the north side of the property there to provide a little more shade. And just to finish my statement, we're working towards best practices and what are considered best practices in childcare. And one of the best practices is that infants are able to go right out of their room to the outdoors. And so they're able to do that right now on the little porch, but it'd be really nice if they could just crawl on out down the ramp and out into a larger space for them. So that is our goal. Tom, I think I covered everything. Did you think I covered everything? Tom's my
You
guy.
did.
Tom
And
is great.
for the board's benefit and anyone that may be watching, because neighboring property owners were notified, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully I can get back. I'm not used to using this yet. This is the only meeting I use it for. This is the overall property. The parking is over here, the existing building. The shade says this is North Churton Street. We're looking west. East is north on the drawing.
Nash Street,
Yeah, Nash Street. What did I say? Did I probably.
not Jordan.
Yeah, I do that a lot. So we've got this, there's a row of hedges here in the road right of way. This is where the shade sail structure would be, 8 by 20. The fence area is, I believe goes up to here and then would come in and kind of fence in this area here. So there'd be an entrance that came in here, you go through a fence, you can get into the building, and this would be the area. These circles are the trees. And this is the 6 by 12 foot deck on the north side of the building. All of this is improvements to the existing play area. So let's see if I can, I'm also going to, unfortunately, this is, let me rotate clockwise. This is, again, a little more close up of the area, the existing building, the existing concrete walkway. The fenced area is in orange. Here, the purple is the deck, and the shade structure is right here in the northwest corner.
Can I confirm one thing with you, Tom?
Sure.
Where you've got the deck that they're proposing,
Yes.
those lines there, that's an existing platform ramp or something going up into
Oh,
the
right here?
building?
Yes, there's a handicap accessible ramp that's already there.
So it's already there and it's already approved and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in the previous drawing, everything in red is the new additions.
Right. Okay,
That's a little.
so thank you,
closer.
Tom.
All right, let's see if I can get this. I never do know how to do that. There we go.
Okay, so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the best way to take a bite at this apple to work through the case. So what I'm going to propose, and for the other board members, if you have a different idea or a better way to do it, I'm all ears, because I thought about it for a while, but I'm thinking that the best way maybe to do it is the current proposal has 3 parts, and we just go through the 3 proposals and then talk about each proposal and then the UDO compliance issues as they apply to each particular issue. Is that okay? Okay, so let's look at the first part is installation of the 4-foot tall chain link fence along the north and northwest sides of the property to create the enclosed play area for the infants. And I'm assuming when we're talking infants, is this like 1 to 2 to 3? What age are we talking infants?
Birth to 1, right, Sharon?
Birth to 1. Okay,
Mhm.
so,
Maybe 18 months, but
okay. So you
Yeah,
definitely
6
need
weeks.
something there that they don't get on their hands and knees and really get away before somebody, I mean, you only have to turn your head for 30 seconds and they're gone. I get it.
Well,
Okay.
Childcare
So-
childcare licensing bill for the state of North Carolina requires a 4-foot fence for any
Right.
children to be in an outdoor space.
Yeah, and as far as I know, I don't know anything. I thought a 4-foot fence, homeowners can put up anything they want, as long as it is completely on their property. Is that correct, Tom?
I mean, as far as fences go,
Yes.
the maximum height in the residential districts outside of the historic district is 8 foot, but they
Okay.
can put up a chain link, a wood privacy,
They can
whatever.
put up any, yeah, but that was saying, so I was saying at a minimum, I thought anything up to that 4-foot request meets all the requirements as far as I know, as long as they put it on their own property. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They can put it right on the property line.
So put it right up to the property line. There's no setback requirement. There's no nothing. So you can do that. So I think issue number one, I'm looking for other board members. I don't see any compliance issues, any problems with that whatsoever. You can put up a 4-foot fence as long as it is on your property line. Everybody agreed?
Agree, no
Okay, so
problem.
we're all agreed with that. So Sharon, at the minimum coming out of this meeting, you can put up your fence. Okay? Okay, second item, construction of a small, low-level 6 by 12-foot deck with the sensory play area on the north side. All that stuff that you're going to put in there is great. The issue we've got is the 6 by 12-foot deck. So when I was at least going through it, that 6-foot deck, when Tom was showing us the picture, is adjacent to that existing handicap ramp, right? And would
Yes.
have access to the existing handicap ramp. And that's where you get into your setback. So there's a couple things that I saw there. One is that isn't it already within the 20-foot setback? When I look at the diagram, it's already within the 20-foot setback, which means that now you can definitely come out as far as the existing handicap ramp with no issues whatsoever. Because you can, if you're already within the offset area, you can go out as long as it doesn't go beyond something that's already there, correct, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess for Sharon, and Maria, it looks like when I was looking at the diagram, and I can't be completely sure because there's a lot going on with those diagrams. It looks like the existing handicap ramp is about 5 feet.
That's
And if
correct,
you-
Bill. The
and if
existing
you-
ramp is 5 and the new
Right,
proposed.
so
is
if
6.
you went, what would be the difference if you went 5 foot by 12 foot as opposed to 6 foot by 12 foot? Is there, what difference does that make to your usage and the benefit to the infants?
I mean, it would just be narrower, but I think it would still be okay. What do you think, Sharon, if it was 5 instead of 6? They're little. So, we're just looking for a little more space for them to be, outside on a
Well,
safe
it
surface.
looked like that you were, you said that you were going to try to put it as low to the ground as possible.
That's right.
And there are things in the UDO that talks about what you can do and not do as long as it's not more than 6 inches above grade, above the current grade and that sort of stuff. And because this is also an irregular lot,
Mhm.
there's some very, there you get a little bit more leeway on some of the setbacks, but there's also a provision in the UDO that says that it cannot go within 10 feet, of an existing setback, regardless of how close anything else was. You can't go within 10 feet.
Mhm.
So, I mean, would you be good with the 5 by 12? If you say you're good with the 5 by 12 now, we can put that in as a condition of the approval and we can move on. You can build your ramp and then we'll we'll look at the sale, the shade sale, which seems to be the real sticking point here.
Does that
Do any of
sound
the
good,
other,
That's fine.
Sharon?
that's fine with you? Any of the other board members, are you good with that? That it goes out to the existing? Okay.
Sounds
All right, so
reasonable.
Tom, yes, go ahead.
I just want to clarify, is there going to be a covering over the deck? Is it going to be roofed? I never
No.
was clear about that.
No,
There
it
will.
isn't in the request. The sale is off to the side.
Yeah. It's so right up against the north side of the building that it'll be kind of shaded by the building. There will be, we are proposing, there are some utility things there on that side of the building.
And you were going to cover
This may
those.
be one reason they drew it at 6 feet, because we were going to put something like a lattice before that so that the children couldn't get to those things. So that might make it, a little bit narrower, but there was to be no roof. That would just be sort of a more of a protective covering over those utilities, but they would still be able to be accessed by, with a hinged thing
Okay.
that's open.
Okay, so looking at the other board members, the compliance issue from us
Bill,
is you can build the ramp, just do not go any closer or impede any further on the setback than the current existing handicap ramp to which it will be adjacent. Yes, Joe.
I'm just trying to understand why 5 feet instead of 6 feet? That I was just confused on that point. I'm just trying to understand.
So what I'm getting at is that the UDO states that if you're already within the setback area and it's already within the 20-foot setback that's required, and there is an existing 5-foot handicap ramp that is already within that offset. So they can build the ramp adjacent to that handicap ramp as long as they do not go any further into the offset than the existing structures.
Okay,
So there's already a 5-foot structure there.
Right.
So they can build the ramp right next to it. As
but
long
if
as
they wanted to make it 6 foot, what then?
then we
then-
have to go through the waiver process and
I got you.
determine
Okay,
whether or not they meet all of the requirements required for a waiver on the setback.
I got you.
And that opens another concern of mine because there's a stipulation in the UDO that says that on these irregular lots, that the side setbacks, that's when we start getting into the 15% and the 10% and the cumulative side of 40%. But there's also a statement in there that says under no circumstance can it go under 10 feet. And if we do consider 6 feet, it will go inside the 10-foot offset.
Mm,
So I don't think that it would meet the approval or that consideration. But if Sharon and Maria are good with the 5 feet, then it's to the existing platform and we don't have to worry about whether it meets all the conditions for a waiver to get that additional foot.
Thank you for explaining that to me. I appreciate it.
And Tom and Bob, I've got that correct, right?
Well,
Okay.
I did want to kind of to clarify this a little bit. This is assuming that the existing handicap accessible ramp is non-conforming. We have no records of when that was constructed. There was a ramp there in 2003. I don't know when it went in. It was an elder care or family care home prior to that. Fair Housing Act rules, not fair housing. Americans with Disability Act requirements went in the 89 or 1990, somewhere around that time. So my guess is at some point it was added. I assume it was permitted. The existing building encroaches a little bit into the 20-foot side yard, as does the deck, the ramp, the handicap ramp.
Okay.
Therefore, it can be treated as a non-conforming structure that's encroaching in the setback.
Okay. And that was,
and as our ordinance will allow you can add on, but you can't get any closer to the property line than the existing structure.
And that's what I was working off of.
That's what we're getting at.
Okay. Yes,
Can
Bob.
I also ask, Tom, do we know, is it in your report and I just missed it or wasn't listening? If the deck were 6 feet, how far back would the edge of the deck be from the north property line? Would it be within 10 feet?
I'm
9 feet.
wanting to say what it would be, it'd be at least 10 feet.
Yeah, because it looks to
Maybe,
me,
maybe a little bit less,
When-
more than 10 feet.
it
Yeah,
looks
when
to
I
me like
looked
it'd
at-
be more than 10 feet.
Yeah, when I looked at, and when I looked at the drawing, I had trouble determining that, and it looked like it's pretty close right on that.
It's
That
gonna, it
line?
would be right at the 10-foot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I have another drawing, Tom. I don't know if you, I'm sure you guys can't see this, but, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. I have to make you a host, and I
Well, I
will,
don't
I
know
will
if
need you to
necessary.
email that to me.
Yeah, if you want to show that, Maria, then it's got to be sent to Tom so that it can be entered into the package.
Just email me a copy of it.
Tom's got it. It's part of that original where we did the overlay on the
Okay.
old surveys.
Okay.
And it looks to me that the 10-foot setback, like there's about another, like there might be 2 feet between the existing ramp and the 10-foot, or 1 foot if we went to 6 feet. So I think it is inside.
I think it is
You
more
think
than
it's-
10 feet setback.
You think
Yeah.
it's more than 10 feet
Thank you,
setback?
Bob.
As I'm looking at the plan that has the kind of the orange writing overlaid on it,
Right.
Mhm.
if I get up to the top there, I see where the 10-foot side setback line is.
Right.
Yeah.
As I follow that down, it does look to me like if
Hold
that
that-
deck were 6 feet wide, it's still about, it's more than 10 feet and maybe about 12 feet set back from the north property line. That's what it looks
Yeah.
like to me.
Right. I
Okay.
can see now, I'm sorry I missed that, but the drawing that Tom has and showed has those setbacks on it.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so when I was doing it, I was struggling, Bob, with, what are the orange lines and what are the
Right.
black lines, and
Right.
the orange line goes right on the 10-foot setback, and I assumed that was the deck size and all of that sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, Tom, can you
That's-
blow
that's the
that
one.
up? Can you make that bigger? Because the orange lines are actually the dimensional lines.
Right.
And so the orange line's kind of right on that 10-foot setback line, but the deck itself is a little bit closer to the building, even at 6 feet. So, yeah, I think, and then
Could we,
you can
could
see
we
that
just-
the existing ramp's 5 foot and the proposed deck is 6.
could we just allow that they could go as close as 10 feet to the property line?
You would have to grant a waiver.
Yeah, we'd have to grant a waiver to do that. So,
Right. But that
And
would
that
keep-
is within your authority to do.
right. So, again, then I'll just ask Sharon and Maria, is that, is it that important that you want us to go through the waiver process, or are you good with it?
It sounds like the waiver process is pretty complicated, am
No,
I
it's
right?
not. No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, well, let's look at it at the waiver process and let's see what we've got to do. So, Tom, what
I mean,
page?
Sharon, do you have an opinion? If it could be a little bit bigger, would you want it to be a little bit bigger? Do you think it's worth?
Either way is fine with me,
Okay,
as long as I have
So-
some for my babies.
so let's just look at it. So Tom, there's what, four, no, where are the waiver? We don't have to really do,
Um,
the discussion we're having now pretty much covers the waiver.
Ideally, regarding waivers,
Yeah, where, I know it's in the package and I saw it, but
It-
I'm having trouble finding it
It's in
where it is now.
attachment 4. It's in subparagraph 3.9.4.3.
What page of the package, Tom?
Here. This will help. Technology is good.
There it is. Yeah, and this is where I saw the, where it can't come within 10 feet, I'm sorry.
An applicant may request a waiver to any provision in section 6, excluding section 6.20, together with an explanation of why the waiver is appropriate,
Right,
including testimony as to why the proposed solution included in the application is equal or superior to the result achieved through the strict application of the provisions in section 6.
Yeah.
So the setback is 20 feet from the side property lines.
but it also talks, you also submitted some stuff to us on irregulars that talks about, that the side setbacks on non-conforming lots can be no more than 40%.
Correct, but
But no side can be, under no circumstance, basically it said, can it be closer than 10 feet?
correct, but that doesn't, the side setbacks that have to be met here are those in section 6. It's the front and rear setbacks that are non-conforming in this particular case.
Well, I thought it was the front setback, I thought applies to the sale.
It does.
I thought on this deck, it's the side setback on the north side that's the problem. Or I'm
Correct.
sorry, on the west side, that's the problem,
Correct.
right? No, north, I'm sorry, north, no, on the north
Yeah,
side.
the north and
Yeah.
the south side yards would be 20 feet, which is required by section 6.
Right,
So they're not getting a break
right,
on the setbacks for a non-conforming lot on the sides. They're getting them on the front and the rear.
okay. All right, so I guess then the issue for Sharon and Maria is to explain to us why the 6 feet would be superior to the 5 feet and why you need 6 feet instead of 5 feet. So Sharon, Maria, if you don't have an answer to that, or you're just like, yeah, it would be okay either way, then we will just go with what we had, that it will be 5 feet, no more than the current existing structure, and move on to item number 3. It's your choice at this point.
Maybe it would be a good idea to discuss what the goal of that, other than just being able to have an area to come out from the building that transitions into the lawn area. What else is going to happen there?
Yeah.
There's some, the plans indicate there's some play. I'm sorry, I forget the terminology, but some
sensory play.
tactile, you know.
Mhm. Well, and I think that the point that I raised earlier about needing to bring the wall out a little bit to cover those utilities. Sharon, how far do you think those stick out from the wall?
Like the electrical box and the cable.
Uh-huh. I mean, we might need as much as a foot to safely conceal all of that.
You construct the fence,
And then if the deck was only 5 and then we had to take a foot along the side of the building, then we'd be down to 4. And that would be a little bit tight, I think, just for people moving around, babies and teachers and having toys and things like that out there. And I'm pretty sure that that's probably why they drew it at 6 feet. But I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure it, because I don't understand exactly your whole process, but I'm feeling like the folks that are here are saying, well, if you want it to be 6 feet, it'd be okay with us. And as long as it's within no more than 10 feet from the property line. But then Tom's saying something a little bit different. I mean, I get that we're sort of like, it's kind of like we're grandfathered in because the ramps are already there and they're already in the setback. But I guess I'm trying to tease out, is it just a matter of you all saying, we'll grant you a waiver for have another foot out there? Or do we need to go, or is there something else that would need to happen? And forgive me for not.
Yeah, it's a lot of the rigorous justification for it and how your 5 feet's different from your 6 feet on the grounds of economic improvement, public or safety is kind of when you talked about the utility box. For me, that brings up there's a safety concern here that you can't cover with the 5 feet or the 4 feet, and that's your justification for the 6 feet is there's electrical equipment you need to shield from the children.
Mhm.
And having the deck out to the size it is shields that electrical equipment and that risk to safety and welfare. That would be the way hearing more about the electrical equipment for me is a justification. That it's got to be in that realm of it's not just it makes us more money. It's how does this mitigate a risk or drastically improve the property in some way.
Mhm. Thank you for that clarification, Jen. And I do think that may be, I would have to talk with Caroline who did this drawing, but I have a feeling that's part of what she was considering was that there would need to be that. And it's noted there, the fence to screen the meter boxes. And it looks like it might be about 10 inches or more out from the building. So that would be my argument if I don't know, Sharon, if you have anything else that you would add to feeling like a little bit bigger is better. And even though it is just a little bit, I think it would be, I mean, actually the existing porch is probably only 8 feet, maybe. It's a very small space. So I don't think I have anything else to add. I don't know if Sharon wants to add anything to that, but, or if you all have further questions regarding this.
I don't know if the board can, the board is already hearing, there's going to be some fencing to screen these meter boxes and utilities. That's going to take up
Right.
some room. I mean, and Bob, I don't know if I'm overstepping, but this is the board, I assume, can take the use of the property into consideration.
Sure.
Its function, what it's meant to function as. This is, to create some usable space for the children. It will be in a fenced play area. How high off the ground is it going to be? I know one drawing said 12 to 18 inches. Is it that low or?
There's a little bit of a slope here. It drops toward the backyard a little bit.
Right.
I think, Sharon, do you know how high that existing ramp is at that, where those two would join? Do you have any idea?
I honestly don't know.
I think we're trying to keep everything as low as possible. So I think it might be about 12 inches where it would meet the existing ramp, and it might be as high as 18 down at the far end, just because of the slope
Okay.
of the hill.
I was
there.
just curious. So it's,
Yeah,
It won't be real tall.
it's
The one
not an
thing
elevated deck.
Mm-mm.
No, the one thing I saw here on page 17, it says low shelf, attached railing, low deck flush with existing ramp.
Mhm.
That's all I saw, Tom, on that.
Right.
Right.
The other one
You'll come up the
says-
ramp and onto the deck.
Yeah, I think everything I read indicated that they wanted it to be as low as possible.
Mhm.
Bill, I'm with Jen on the safety issue on this one, so.
Okay, so the only thing that I see for sure is that, so then the question becomes, Tom, the 10-foot, this is an issue with a paragraph 6 issue, but the non-conforming lots is a paragraph 7, section 7 thing. That's where it talks about the 10 feet. So I'm assuming that as long as then it's outside the 10 feet, that was my concern before, that I thought it was going to get within inside that 10 feet. It looks like as long as it stays outside the 10 feet,
Again,
Then I don't-
the 10 feet doesn't apply on this side,
why does it not apply on this side?
but because it has to meet the 20-foot setback of section 6 applies on the sides. They didn't get a reduction,
Even for a non-conforming lot?
even for a non-conforming lot. This isn't a non-conforming setback. This is a setback for a non-conforming lot. This would be the only non-conforming setbacks that this lot was allowed to take advantage of are the front and the rear. Because of the lot's width, it
Mhm.
has a standard setback of 20 feet, just like any other lot in the R20 district.
Really?
Except the structure does not meet that 20-foot setback.
Right, the existing
Right.
structure does not meet the setback.
But can we not grant a waiver from that 20-foot setback?
Yes,
Up to 10
that's
feet?
Yes.
correct.
And I think that's what Bill's talking about.
Yeah, I'm saying that I think we can grant the waiver, but I don't want to go within the 10 foot,
Okay, well then that's,
which was my concern before, which is why I proposed leaving it at 5 feet, because I
gotcha.
thought it was going within the 10 feet. But when Bob and we've got now this discussion, I think we all now think that we're not going to go within that 10-foot
Right.
issue. And so I would agree with, Jen and Joe that I have no problem granting a waiver to go to 6 feet as long as it doesn't go within that 10
10
foot.
foot. Right. Right.
Would the simplest way to grant that waiver to be to say they can go up to 10 feet from the property line?
Well, I
Or to
would
say,
just-
or to say that they can have a 6-foot deck, 6-foot wide deck there, provided that the deck is no closer than 10 feet to the,
property line.
because we're not, unless you want to say they could have an 8-foot deck there. I don't know if we want to say that, but they're
Yeah.
asking for a 6-foot deck, and we're saying that's okay as long as it gets no closer than 10 feet to the north property line.
I
Correct.
was just thinking if it turns out they could go 5.5 feet until they hit that 10-foot mark, then they'd have to come back to us for an approval for a 5.5-foot deck. If we just grant them a waiver,
If we give them the 6-foot, they can build 5.5.
They just can't
Oh.
build 6.5.
Right.
Got you. All right.
They can still do 5.5, but they
Right.
can't do
Either way,
6.5.
Either way, then works. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm good with that. So I'll ask Tom, and Bob, do we need to take a vote on that, or because we're all in consensus, are we good?
Yeah, I think we can say just as part of the motion in the
Condition.
end, we can make that.
Okay,
include that.
perfect. Okay, so I think
So it
we're,
sounds like the waiver is 6-foot width is allowed, or depth, is as long as it doesn't get in closer than 10 feet to the north property line.
correct.
Yes.
That's what we're going to, okay.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to item number 3, and it is here. Item number 3 is the installation of an 8-foot wide by 20-foot long rectangular pole-mounted shade sail structure at the far northwest corner of the lot, adjacent to the north property line and the street right away. The shade sail will be attached to 3 8-foot tall posts and to the building. Okay, so this one, since Tom has got he's still sharing his screen, he's got it up there. This one, I'm going to be honest, looks a lot more problematic because the UDO specifically addresses sail shades like this.
Well, I have
I
a
think-
suggestion,
Go, please, Bob.
and I was trying to brainstorm this, and then something Maria said earlier helped to reinforce what I was thinking. When you look at the definition of structure, which is in our packet,
Mhm.
and let me find it.
It's on the last page, right? Or
I
next
believe
to last
so, Next
page?
to last page.
And I guess we should clarify that Bob Hornick is the town attorney. He's not a board member.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
A structure, well, I'll go to the last sentence of the second sentence of that definition says that walkways, fences, patios, or driveways are not considered structures. So what if the applicant were to, as part of its fence, use 8-foot fence posts, and fences are not structures subject to the setback, and then they could just string the shade sail from the top of those fence posts. In that case, they wouldn't need any kind of variance or waiver.
Because Tom said outside of the historic district, they can put up any fence they want up to 8 feet tall.
That's right. And fences are not structures subject to the setback.
I like it.
So, I mean, I just throw that out for consideration. Tom and I had actually talked about that a little bit the other day as being a possibility.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tom didn't get it.
You didn't get what?
I didn't get what he was getting at.
Oh, do you get it now?
Until he just said it now.
Yeah.
Well, and now as I look at the site plan and as I heard people talking tonight, it became clearer to me that that is a possible solution.
Yep. I told you I spent a lot of time working through this, trying to come up ways because I like to get the yes if we can.
Mhm.
And I like that. That's good creative thinking.
I thought it was elegant.
I
So
feel like
let me go to Jen and Joe and Rob. What do
my
you all
neighbor
think?
actually has done something like that now, and I'm tempted to pull open my dining room curtains to show it because that's how he has kept the deer out of his garden. He has random high posts on his
Okay.
fence, and then in the
Okay.
he covers the plants with the cover on those posts. So I know it'll work. I've seen my neighbor do it.
Okay, so what that's going to require you to do then, Maria and Sharon, is you're going to have to talk with your fence guy, and in pertinent, appropriate locations in order to put up the shades, then you're going to have to put up, incorporate as part of the fence poles that are high enough that you can hang the sail from. But it also has to be incorporated into the fence.
But they can't be more than 8 feet,
It
right?
cannot be more than 8 feet.
Out
But
of
that
the
shouldn't be a problem because your package says that you're gonna install the sail on 8-foot posts.
What about the corner that was going to be attached to the building? Is that going to be problematic?
No, just attach it to the building.
Because that was basically my plan, was like, let's make those 3 posts part of the fence. 1 in the corner and then 2 on the side. And
I think we can do that.
are you also saying, and not that I think this is what Sharon necessarily wants to do, but she might consider it, that if she wanted this fence to be 8 feet tall, it could be. It doesn't have to match the existing chain link that's in the back.
Correct. It could be 8 feet
Yeah.
tall.
Do we need to propose if we
No.
make that sort of change?
No, and given your use, I would, and it's in a neighborhood, I would kind of recommend it. I was going to ask why you didn't want to go higher, given the use and the location.
Because it would
Yeah.
provide more protection to the children to
Yeah,
not.
I mean,
be visible.
I know she went with a 4-foot fence, I'm sure, because you've got an existing 4-foot fence. I mean, I walk down there periodically and it looks to be about 4 feet to me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cheaper.
yeah, and it is cheaper and there's a whole series of things, but I don't even think item number 1 really needed to come to us. But it's, it was part of your package, I know, of all the changes you wanted to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can go up to 8 feet if you want to.
Okay, well, that's really good to know.
Okay, but for the sale, just make sure that that it's it's just basically part of the fence. So when you do put in those fence posts though, make sure that they are incorporated part of the fence so that they can be used for that sale.
We got that. We can do that.
Okay?
Bill, I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, and Jen and Ray, I see agreement all around.
Literally
Okay, so,
how it's done from this window back here.
okay,
What
so I guess the question now, Tom and Bob, because I haven't done a lot of these as chairman, do we need to close the hearing before we make our motion of what we're going to do, or go ahead and do the motion?
I wouldn't just yet.
So we just go ahead and make our motion of what we want to do and then close the hearing after that.
So can I just clarify for the record that the fenced area approved, again, you're not really approving necessarily the fence. You're approving the expansion of the play area, which in my viewpoint of why daycare centers are a special or a conditional use in residential zoning districts is because some people have a problem with lots of children outside playing next to them. So that's the reason this came to you.
Okay.
So that fence can be 4 feet or 8 feet
Yes.
and then the shade structure can be attached to 3 of those posts into the building.
Correct.
All right.
Okay. Would anybody like to take a stab at a motion of what we have discussed today,
Well,
what we've approved?
can I ask Bob a question?
Yes.
Bob, do we need to go through these use specific standards or section 5, the findings of fact from section 3, or can the board accept staff's findings with the notation that, a waiver was granted from section 6?
I think we can do it. I think we can do it the latter way, Tom.
Okay. So the staff report is entered into the record. I should have said that earlier. So the board has that information as to the standards for child care daycares in section 5 and the staff's findings for what's required in section 3 for granting.
Okay. Who wants to take a stab at the motion?
Can we get a motion to close?
You want to do that now? Because that's what I asked a minute ago, if we wanted to close it before we did the motion.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we can close it now if we're good, if this is the proper time to close it, and then we can do the motion.
Yeah, I think the evidentiary report portion of the hearing is now closed, so it's appropriate to close the hearing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to close the hearing?
Move close.
A second?
Second,
Okay, Tom, can you take the roll on the vote?
Bill Harris,
Aye.
Joe Becker,
aye.
Jen Sykes,
Aye.
Rob Bray.
Aye.
And who am
Okay,
I?
the evidentiary hearing is closed. So let's now move. Do we need to have any additional discussion on this if we completely covered the topic? Everybody's good? Okay, then now what we need to do is make a motion on the considerations. Jen, you want to take a shot at it?
Say I'll give it a shot. Move that the view of the board is that I'm sorry, I'm clicking the wrong thing. The first issue is moot based upon the evidence presented. The second, we will grant a waiver from section 6 based upon public safety around the electrical utilities. And the third is conditional upon the fence posts being used to set up the sale. And they have to be 8 feet. Did I get
Okay.
that right?
Or no,
guys?
no taller than 8 feet.
No taller than 8 feet.
Right, and there should be one additional condition, if you would, that the waiver for item 2, the 6 foot, the patio cannot extend within the 10 feet
Yep.
setback.
Yeah, so for the second one, we are waiving the requirement from section 6, but it is that the fence cannot go in, that the deck cannot go into the 10-foot setback, so it cannot exceed 6 feet.
Right.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Tom, can you take the roll vote?
Bill Harris,
Aye.
Joe Becker,
aye.
Jen Sykes,
Aye.
Rob Bray.
I,
Okay, thank you. Maria, Sharon, thank you for joining us this evening. You
Thank
should be
you.
getting, Tom will
Uh,
work with you on this as to when you will get all of the paperwork and everything that you need. But basically, you've heard the discussion, so good luck with your daycare center, and we hope the children like their new area.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
good
you
night.
all
Thanks for
very
joining
much.
us.
Tom, thanks for all your help.
You're welcome. I'll be following up with some approval letters and there'll be some more documents, but I'll be getting back to you within the week.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Okay. The next agenda item we have is the Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure Update discussion. So Tom, you've got some suggested updates for us?
I have nothing to share with you right now. I have
Okay.
put the rules of procedure are on the town website under the Board of Adjustment on their page. If you want to kind of look at what's already there. But yes, I've already sent a draft to Bob last week with some proposed changes. Some of which might bring the rules of procedure into alignment with the 160D requirements. There's a few things added in there, but some of it's just to kind of clean things up. Some things are added. I'm suggesting taking some things out, but it doesn't have to be something that we have to make a decision on immediately, I don't think. But I just thought it'd be a good time to get that started.
Okay. All right, thank you. Committee and staff reports. Do we have anything, Tom? Do you have any staff report? Anything other than what you've already given us? And then Jen, after that, we'll get to you on the planning.
I don't have anything at this point. We haven't had a staff meeting, so I'm not. The only thing is I do know the Collins Ridge project, there's going to be about 30 some homes over the next month getting CO'd. So
Okay.
I guess some houses are going to start going up for sale.
They're already up for sale on Zillow.
Yeah.
They're already way up for sale.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay, Jen.
I will say
Any-
probably I'm gonna guess in part why Tom doesn't have a staff report. We got an email that we're gonna cancel our June hearing for planning board and try to keep the July one short just because of everything involved in the 160D compliance and just the paperwork part of it right now.
Okay,
And that about covers that.
okay, thank you. Then I guess we're ready for adjournment. The only thing I would like to say, I would like to thank Bob. That was a very creative solution to the sale, because that was one that I was working, trying to figure out how to get to that, and I couldn't figure out the 4-foot fence and all that stuff, but when she said 8-foot fence and 8-foot poles, and Tom, that was a great link. Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought that the shade sail was probably something in our weather that would be a good thing for them to have. I was trying to figure out how can we make that work and stay kind of within
Yeah.
stay in our lane. So
Yeah, I couldn't come up with anything either, but that was a good connection through a lot of different points. So thank you. Okay, are we ready?
Bill, I just wanted to say you did a great job explaining about the 10-foot and the 20-foot and section 6, and you did a great job.
Well,
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's because Tom has beat me up enough over the years. So I've got.
Well, I'm dragging today. It's been the past couple of days have been a real just mind suck is all I can say is
Yeah.
I just am kind of mentally drained. So my apologies if I am not picking up on things the way I
That's
should.
okay.
But
Wait till you start getting old.
I am starting to get old. I just turned 50 this past month. So
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. All right.
It's
I'm
not-
there.
All right. Thank you very much. We don't need to take a motion to adjourn, do we?
Yeah, move adjourn.
Okay, Jen moves to adjourn. Do I have a second? Rob seconds. All in favor?
Aye,
Bill Harris, Joe
Aye.
Baker,
aye.
Jen Sykes,
Aye.
Rob Bray.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Have a nice month until we see you next month. Tom, let me know if and when you want me to come sign paperwork, or if I've got to sign anything for her or whatever. I can just drop down to your office anytime.
Okay, it'll probably be, I'll need a little time to put things together, but, and
No problem.
we'll get it worked out, but I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Aye.
Good night.